Hey there, it's Jackie here. How are you? I am bringing this video to you today from my wonderful IKEA sit stand desk. To be quite honest, I am sick to death of sitting down. I've sat down for work and for business and for sessions for so long that it feels like I can't really do it anymore. So I'm going to be standing a lot more for our videos and for teaching and for one-on-one sessions. So if you see me moving around, you know what it is that I'm doing. I'm not just wiggling around in my chair. The purpose for today's video is to have a chat about superficial conversations. Superficial conversations have become so prolific that many people have no awareness of the amount of conversations or interactions that they have that stay very comfortably on the surface of what I'm okay with. These superficial conversations don't have any real depth to them at all. It's a successful skimming around of feelings and topics. Now, I sat at an event at the weekend, and being a people observer, I listened to interaction after interaction of conversation skimming. It was the whole, "How are you?" The other person says, "Yeah, I'm good, and you?" And they turn away distracted because a pretty bee flew past and it just caught their attention. There were so many superficially off the cuff replies like that that aren't even true, and so many questions that people don't want the true replies for or would know what to do with the truth of those replies should they receive them. It's a superficial conversation. I have lost count, and it would be in the thousands and thousands of different examples I've seen, not only in clients' lives, but also my personal interactions with people throughout my whole life, that showed how prevalent the conditioning of the human mind is from birth to the current day that they are experiencing as a human being, that reinforces constantly and says to the person that it is far more important to swim on the surface of all things than it is to dive to any depths and see what is below. Now, to give an example, I remember a client years ago who I worked with, and I asked them, as they were talking about something that was obviously a big deal for them that they had experienced in their life, I asked them, "How do you feel? What emotions coming up for you right now?" And they looked at me really confused and perplexed and said, "I don't know. What do you mean, feelings, emotions?" When I prompted them to take some moments to go inwards and connect with the emotion that they're experiencing to do with the situation, they were unable to do it. This person realized that they had been unaware of their emotions and how they felt about anything pretty much throughout their whole life. You see, when they were growing up, if anybody got upset in the family, if anything went wrong, if there was any conflict or drama of any kind, the pattern that had been so well formed in this family had been to avoid. Immediately avoid and move on from what was upsetting and what the issue was. Now, both the matriarch and the patriarch in the family would use words like, "Just forget about it," or "Come on, let's do something else," or "Never mind all of that," and so many more. And there were hundreds upon hundreds of times throughout the family's life when these things that happened, the matriarch or the patriarch would use food and drinks as a way of being able to sedate a triggered sympathetic nervous system to bring the family together in that moment, but to redirect and keep the conversation at a very superficial level, thereby steering it away from the feelings, the thoughts, and about what was really going on for them at a deeper level. Ultimately, what the real issue was. So it was a real unconscious conditioning to keep things at a very superficial level, mainly for comfort's sake. So each member of the family, through lots of conditioning and intergenerational modeling, because that's what this was, were taught to keep things at a superficial level of conversation and interaction, that it was both unnecessary, unsafe, and uncomfortable to go through any layers whatsoever, and that it was the constant unconscious conditioning that they got. So needless to say, all these members of the family had pretty major relationship issues that kept reoccurring because they couldn't go any deeper than the superficial level. Take a moment and think about all the ways that you keep things superficial. Maybe you do it in some of your relationships, least of all the one with yourself, right? That's mainly where the biggest stuff is. So, how do we repair or stop superficial conversations? It starts with you. Any healing process always starts with self. You have to be 100% willing to go deeper than the first layer or two of anything. Being this for yourself and with others, meaning when you get 100% comfortable with depths and layers, you then have no problems doing this in your normal everyday life. And it will automatically mirror out into the world with other people. They will change subtly on different levels because of you and your want to go beyond superficial. We don't do it to change anybody. We are not going into savior mode. We are not looking for a wounded pound puppy person to educate. We do it for ourselves. But this is one of the things that automatically happens. We mirror. They pick up that mirror and it changes them. We are more interconnected than we realize or what we are taught to believe. Absolutely. That's happened to you plenty of times. You have been mirrored to, and it's been the right time, the right person, and it's helped you to change something about you. The ripple goes on. So it's got nothing to do with us needing to preach or change anybody. It's about you getting comfortable with how to stand in your personal truth and being prepared to go through layers into depths that need going into for yourself and possibly for other people as well. And then holding space for others to maybe do the same for themselves or other people. I would rather model acceptance of self and of them so they feel accepted and safe to go through those superficial layers and have conversations and therefore healing that is often very profound. Separation and superficial connection kills the human being. It slowly kills the spiritual connection of a person that they have. It manifests as all kinds of diseases and psychological imbalances. So, in order to thrive, we have to turn it around, and we can turn it around. We are, by design, meant to be very deeply connected to each other. And any thought, action, or narrative that speaks of disconnection and separation, like it is a positive thing, is pathological and one that I personally reject as toxic from my life. When we connect with a willingness to jump in through all the superficial layers of conversation and interaction, we are bonding, loving, building connections, and healing across all levels of the body mind complex. Vulnerability is my superpower. I love that one. That can be a massive trigger for people, though, but I hope it's one that you dive into because it's the bomb. There's gold in there. You are not weak or unsafe by being vulnerable. That is a pathological belief that has been passed on through generations and spread like wildfire through society and schooling institutions to the individual, convincing them into thinking that vulnerability is a weakness. You are powerful, courageous, and emotionally intelligent beyond your wildest dreams. So, stepping into vulnerability and claiming it as one of your superpowers is your birthright. So, embrace your vulnerability like it is your bloody superpower and start wanting to go through those very superficial layers of conversation and interaction, because for you and other people who go into those places of depth and honesty, you will find things that you're searching for: acceptance, appreciation, affection, allowing, freedom, connection, bonds, and the ultimate one, love. This is where love resides. My declaration to myself is I will not sit at a superficial level and fool myself or others into thinking that this is the place to be. To have any meaningful connections or healing, I'll hold space for myself and us to journey through whatever layers we need to. I will not hold superficial connections to any high regard because it's disrespectful both to me but to you as well. Knowing the value of going through the layers and not keeping conversations at the superficial level is one of the reasons why I created the My Incredible Orbit Academy back in 2016. We go through all the superficial levels of BS to uncover the real story and the real human being. For some people, it will seem too hard and they will not want to do it. In fact, they won't do it. That will be their journey. But for many, it's just what they are looking for. It's exactly what they need, and it's also what they're ready for. So I want to encourage you to come and connect in more deeply to what we speak about in the conversations we have. Come and be okay with going through the layers. Know that you are completely accepted and safe to go through any layers that you need to, and that if you want to do that in a more intimate space where you are held very gently to journey through whatever it is you need to in order to heal, then know that the My Incredible Orbit Academy would be a great fit for you. It is really easy to find out more about that through my website. I'll include a link in the comments section. But aside from that, what you can start doing today is make a decision that you are prepared to go through those oily, superficial layers of conversation and interaction because you deserve it. And by doing that, one of the beautiful offshoots will be that others see and notice you doing it too, whether they are aware of it or not at a conscious level. It will start to show up and make changes within them. With how the people of this world are currently doing the layers issue, which is not great, I must say, if we were to embrace vulnerability as a superpower and not only be prepared, but looking forward to seeing what layers there are in a conversation or an interaction with each other, we could rapidly and radically see amazing changes in our own lives, in our communities, and around the world. I am really looking forward to having more conversations about all different kinds of ideas and topics. And if there is one in particular that sparks your curiosity, then I would love to hear about it. Pop it into the comments below and we'll see what comes up from it. Okay? I look forward to our next time together. Bye for now.